Thank you guys for taking the call today.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Hello, Krista.
Thank you, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Hello, Christian. How are you?
Good, good.
So where are we starting today?
First of all, I just want to take a moment and I just wish Fred the very, very best. I hope he's okay. And he gets through this. I don't know about you, Krista. I mean, I'm always very interested in what you have to say, but because this is about circumstances and it's about mindset. I sometimes think that if we were to remove money and judgment from the equation of our business, what it would look like. I go through that exercise pretty much on a daily basis. Do you do anything like that?
Yes, I mean, for me, I think I said it last time. It's never really been about the money. It's, in fact, I have an accountant now who's my fiance. And he's like, you're doing really well. And I'm like, really? I just don't see it. To me, it's about helping people, and that's where my focus is. And if you think about that, the money will come, right?
I think of, as you know, I'm a little bit silly, and that's okay. That's how I enjoy myself. I think of it very much like being, like when I watch children. Children go out and play, and they're not thinking about judgment, consequences, or money.
Right.
And I think we spend so much time in our business focusing on those negative aspects that it stops us. It makes us worry. It puts us in our head, and it gets us all creating circumstances that don't exist.
Right.
And like I watch my children play, they're not doing that. They're just having a great time. And I think that creating those circumstances is not only exhausting, it also manifests a lot of negativity. Now, I understand the pressure of needing money. I have a wife, I have children, and I have to provide for them. But one thing that I did with my business, and I still work on doing, is that I try and eliminate those things from my equation so that I can find joy. Because if I have joy in me, I find that that projects to the people around me. And if I'm having a good time, then things work, and there are a lot of things that I struggle with on a daily basis in terms of business and things like that, but I have to find ways of making it joyful and fun, because that projects to the people I'm showing property to, that projects to the people if I get a listing appointment. I think that makes us perhaps more attractive to other people. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that, because I think a lot of times, what I struggle with, and I think a lot of you here with my imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome is that you have that negative, little devil next to you talking to you and saying, you can't do this. You're not experienced enough. You haven't sold, $2 million homes, or whatever it is, you have that little imposter syndrome in you. And believe it or not, I still have it to this day. When I go on a listing appointment, I'm sweaty, I'm very nervous, even though I've done this many times. So I have to create the other Krista here that says, listen, breathe, you can do this, you're the expert, and have fun with it. I do love meeting people. And I think that's, once I'm in the meeting and once I'm in front of people, I calm down. But getting there, that imposter syndrome can really make you freeze, right? And not do anything and not go out for your dreams and goals.
And I also look at athletes, great athletes, and I think they train, they coach, they work their butts off. That stuff is not pleasant. They must be doing it for some reason. And then they go and they enter the competition and they win at the end, or they don't win, but they played the game or whatever. And that's where they find their joy. And I often think of my career in the same way as an athlete approaches what they want to do, and I absolutely love working in real estate. I feel like it's a privilege. I appreciate it. I enjoy it. I have had some successes and I've had a tremendous number of failures as well, but I love doing it. And I think one of the hardest things is that I found over the last 18 months is there are some tremendous challenges in getting transactions to close very often. And that can give you like almost a type of PTSD. You know, it's like, oh, I don't think I want to go under contract again, you know, after that experience. But it's all part of the journey. And I think if we approach it like athletes with the same level of commitment, dedication, passion, but again, doing it for the love of the game, as opposed to trying to seek any fortune, I think the fortune will come. And it also takes away a level of the pressure. Is my experience anyway. I mean, you know, I'm sure there are people who are more motivated by money, but I don't know. I think I'm motivated by joy.
Yes.
And fun.
And I can see that, and that's why I think you attract the kind of people that you want to work with, right? You attract where your focus is.
Right.
And then, you know, talking about athletes and how they train, and we see the end game, right? We see the finals at the, you know, whatever it is, you know, you know, I'm not a sports person, but I understand how they train. There's a book called Relentless by Tim Grover. And I wanted to touch on that because he talks about what makes one unstoppable, right? And, you know, and I'm going to read here because he said, you know, people who really muscle up and who become obsessed at something, whether you're an athlete or a real estate agent or a CEO, they're top producers because they are obsessed with the daily activities and the daily boredom of doing something. So, you know, sometimes, you know, our jobs are not glamorous, right? We have to be obsessed with the daily boring details of our life. And then, you know, this is not a hobby. If you're interested in real estate, he says, it's a hobby for you. It gives you an out. Being interested in something gives you an out. Oh, it's not going to work out, so I'm not going to do it. But I'm interested in it. But, you know, if it's okay, it's too hard, I'm out. But to make it really big, you have to become obsessed in a good way, not in a bad way, right? In a good way about your systems, your daily activities, your habits, and that will take you to the next level. And I think one of the things that I love about you, Christian, is that you do listen. And I think when I go into a listing appointment, and I've actually partnered with a lot of real estate agents, very, you know, top producers in my lifetime, because I wanted to learn from them. And a lot of the times, I would say 90% of the time, I was kind of disappointed, you know, because I thought we would go into a listing appointment and I thought they were these stars, right? They had some secret that they were doing that I didn't have. And then we're at this listing appointment and they're just kind of like normal people like me. So that kind of gave me the confidence of thinking, okay, you know, sometimes I'm more prepared. I know more about the market. I have a prettier presentation, whatever it is. It's really about getting in front of people. And that's what we need to realize, that the more people we can get in front of, and then the more we listen to them and to what their needs are, not about us, right? About what their needs are, the more we're going to be successful. So that's where I go into my imposter syndrome, where I want to push it away every day and say, okay, I've been at this for 18 years. I can do this. And I have to tell that myself. And then, you know, just about lack of experience for a lot of you that are new, it's just about doing it. Sometimes you have to bomb at something to learn. I remember my first open house back in 2007 when I was in Illinois. I desperately wanted something, so I got this agent to give me her open house. She didn't tell me anything. She didn't tell me how to host it, nothing. Just open the door and host your open house. I bombed. I had people coming through. I didn't know anything about the house, AC, roof. I mean, this is one of the first times that I do something like this. And I felt so stupid, but I learned my lesson. That was a really good lesson to learn from that. And that did not stop me from then, becoming better at my craft and learning about the neighborhood and the market and what I wanted to do with my open houses. So, your lack of experience, don't have, I guess what I'm saying, don't stop, just do it, because you will learn, from some of these mistakes.
I also think, I mean, being quite new myself, I also think that making it fun for yourself is absolutely key. It's so much easier to do something that is enjoyable. And I remember there was a chap, I think it was about a year ago at the last GPS convention. There was a gentleman who, he's a lender, but I also think he's a realtor. I don't know him terribly well, but I remember he went up on stage and his name was Brian Offner. And I don't know whether he coined it. I have no idea, but he said something that sort of stuck with me. And he was talking about doing things that were light and doing things that are heavy. And he talked about focusing on doing the stuff that's light. Now, I'd just been beamed into this industry. I was very excited. I was riddled with enthusiasm and I was good to go. But I didn't have anything. I mean, I didn't have a client, customer, open house, nothing. I barely had business cards. So, you don't need a lot to get started in this business. The time that you need all that other stuff is when you have a bigger sphere, is when you have lots of relationships or leads, whatever you want to call them, that you have to then manage and follow up with and do all the follow-up and all that. That's when you need the systems. But at the very beginning, all you need is yourself, probably a little bit of knowledge of the MLS is going to help, and just literally put yourself out there with as much fun as possible. And Krista, we were sitting around a table the other day and we were listening to some people talk about the things that they do. Everybody does something different. Everybody does something. I mean, people do tremendously well on Instagram. That for me is heavy. But I need to address it and make it light, and I'm going to work on that. Some people send out postcards. That costs a lot of money. We don't all have that kind of money. Other people go door knocking. Other people have mum and me groups. Other people have other groups orientated towards different activities. But at the end of the day, I think the ones that are doing well, it seems, my takeaway from all that is people are doing things and getting involved in things that they personally enjoy. As we're often told, be authentic, be yourself, and do the things that you enjoy doing, whatever that might be. It could be making pizzas or whatever the heck it is. And then you go out and you meet other people. And that is, I think that I believe from what I see and what I've experienced, that is the key to starting your business. And then for me, it was like doing open houses, going knocking on doors, letting people know about an open house. And then I sort of built up more and more people, more and more relationships, and started getting more and more business. But it was all fun. My open houses had nothing to do really with real estate. I did put up the honey look boards and things that we got and put them around the house. But my interaction with people was purely on a personal level. And enjoying. I had so much fun. I mean, literally so much fun, laughing, giggling, got invited to a wedding, got invited to all kinds of stuff. And it was terrific. So I think that's a huge factor that, because I remember after about 3 weeks, I got very bogged down in all this training and I was really struggling. I thought I don't know. I was getting a numb ass from sitting in front of my computer and just working. And I called Fred and he said, stop, Christian, go out, talk to 6 people about real estate. And I went out that day. 11 months later, because of that one day that I went out and spoke to some people, I ended up getting about 4 listings in a row. So
exactly. And I think that's the key, because, as a new agent, or even today, I can get into all kinds of classes, right? With EXP, we have 90 hours of classes a week. I mean, we could spend our entire working week on Zoom or going to classes, and that's really not going to move the needle in our business. I mean, it's going to probably make you a little bit more knowledgeable, but I think, part of my weekly routine on Sundays, and Fred taught me this, is that at 5 p.m. I sit down and I write the classes I'm going to take that week. Sometimes it works out that I'm actually on my computer and I can do it. And other times I'm busy with clients and I don't go, but I do put it in my calendar what 1 hour events or classes I want to take. And then, creating what you like you said about having fun. I used to have a book club that I loved. It was every month, and we had a group of 12 ladies, and we would rotate every month to each house. And the only rule was to bring wine and chocolate, or the host had to have wine and chocolate, right? Not a big thing. And the host would pick the book for that month. So for the past 5 years I've been here, I've been lacking that experience and that camaraderie of being with friends. And I'm like, well, I'm not getting invited to any book clubs. I know there's book clubs out there. So why don't I create my own? So I did. It took me 5 years to get up the courage and talk to a few ladies that I've met through my last 5 years that I really like. And I created a book club 3 months ago. And now I have 3 ladies in Wellington. I have 2 in Boca and 1 in Coral Springs. There's about 6 of us now. And this is our 3rd book. And it's amazing. It creates, they know I'm in real estate. We don't talk about real estate, but that's where my business used to come from the book club. So I created it. So create the groups that you want to be part of, or that maybe don't exist, and just do that, via Facebook or Instagram or a book club. I know we have a book club here with Liz Quinones that she did. So, those are the things that bring life to or joy to my business, and so I created one. I think I told you guys at that meeting last week, Christian, I created a Facebook group that I'm not really doing much with it, about dogs in Palm Beach County. So, I need to just dial down on that and actually do something with it. But creating your circumstances, right? Creating opportunities for yourself. If they're not there, invite yourself to the table. Go out and get involved in the community, because that's where you're going to be in front of people, and they're going to know, like, and trust you when they see you, being part of the community.
And the thing I found about that is that, I mean, I'm at an interesting stage in my career now, around about 18 months into my business. And I'm like, okay, well, I did all that. Now I've got all this. I still wake up and I still have to do my mental and physical exercises to get myself into a positive frame of mind, because the mind is predisposed to going to the negative areas and all the things that are hard and all the things that are miserable and all the money you don't have and, all the connections you don't have and, all the listings you don't have, that's where it goes in the beginning. So I had to deal with that in the first and say, well, hang on, shut up a second. This is all the things I do have. These are the connections I do have. These are the clients I am working with. This is the position I am in, which is good, which is better than it was before, or is better than whatever. It just has to be positive so that I can put myself in that positive frame of mind. And then like an athlete, I have to train. And the point that I'm at my business now is I would like to grow it. So that means that I have to look at other avenues for marketing. So I've been looking at the things like Instagram and, sorry about this, Instagram and Facebook and things. And there are some things that cost a lot of money. And that's something that I wrestle with. It's like, spending, return on investment and all that sort of stuff. But what I can tell you is that at the beginning, to get started, it really didn't cost me really any money. And it doesn't need to cost you any money. I guarantee you it doesn't need to. in terms of, whether or not you're spending, that's only because I'm trying to grow, because I have to. But in the beginning, you don't have to. And it's just like, Krista was saying, getting involved in groups or whatever it takes just to put yourself out there and be in contact with as many people as you possibly can be.
Right.
What will not help you is staying at home and not talking to people and sitting there doing these training classes one after another. They might help you gain knowledge and those types of things, but they're not going to help you get any business.
Right.
And the best thing you can do is anything that you enjoy. That's going to affect you emotionally. And I remember I did used to manage some people at one point, and it was an industry that I had no business being in, but I just ended up in it and I did quite well. And so I didn't focus on things like the numbers or the returns or the conversion rates or any of that stuff. All I focused on was creating an environment where people would look forward to coming into work. And that's what I try and do with my own business now, is I try and create an environment where I look forward to going into work. That's the beginning. You will end up, as Brian often said, you have to do the heavy stuff at some point. But when you do that heavy stuff, you're going to be in a better position to tackle it. And it's not going to turn you away from doing your business. You focus on the light stuff, the stuff you enjoy. That's the stuff that's going to keep you upbeat and looking forward to going to work and getting up and doing it every single day and having bucket loads of fun. Then there's going to be some heavy stuff you have to do. Well, then you just get it done. And then you look so that you can go and do the good stuff again.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. And I just want to read something, I wrote from Build when I went to Build, is that success is not something you pursue, but it is something you attract by the person you become. Right? Success is not something you pursue, but something that you attract by the person you become. Mm-hmm. So inherently, all of us are, attracting all of those people that want to be around us and want us to be the leaders to help them get to where they need to be, real estate, life, whatever it is, right? But it also has to come from you as well. The person, I'm becoming somebody every day. I want to become somebody better. And, I'm accountable to myself. And yes, we do all have, various problems in life, like Christian shared and I shared last week. And it is hard because you're like, why is it me? Why is it me? Why is all this happening to me? But also there has to be a higher purpose why this is happening to you, right? And how you're going to attack those problems and come out of it and get up again and again and again to pursue what you're supposed to become in this lifetime. That's where the secret sauce is, just have to get up and do it again and again and again. Mm-hmm. So, there are some, I don't know if you guys want to have some questions or it's 9 o'clock. Maybe we can hear about somebody who's struggling with something and we can try to help and navigate or give you some insights. Does anybody want to ask something? Chris said, I think you have to set boundaries to keep your passion and peace. Absolutely. And that comes with time. In the beginning, at least I was available 24/7, right? I was always available to my clients every day. And it's become something where I missed holidays. I missed birthdays. I missed going on vacations, or I was working on vacations, and it was miserable. It was really miserable. Mm-hmm. And I just went on I think a lot of you follow me on Instagram. I went on a 3-day trip to Europe. Like literally I was in Vienna for 3 days with my parents and came back last night. And I almost didn't go. It was my dad's 80th birthday because I had an event on Friday. And I was like, and I remember asking Fred, Fred, I have this and I have this opportunity to go to see my dad. He's like, go, like, go. So, and I feel like I always still have to have permission of, the Godfather to go somewhere. And I am so glad I did, but, me a while ago, I would have not gone. So yes, the boundaries, I came back with like a renewed passion, right? Hey, I went to Europe for 3 days. I'm back. I'm ready to go. So you're totally right, Chris.
I'm going to say one thing. However many people there are on this call, I have no idea. But I know that I struggle with things every single day. And the majority of it, I will argue 90 to 99% of it, is all fabricated in my mind. I believe I begin with an idea and then I rip it to bits. It's either because of fear of judgment, fear of how much it'll cost, fear, all manufactured. Now, I would really love to hear from anyone here that is struggling with something. I mean, I can tell you I'm struggling with something. I need more clients. I need more listings. I have 2 listings sitting up there that aren't selling. I've got all kinds of nonsense going on, but does anybody have anything that they struggle with? No, that's amazing. I wish I was you.
Delania or Chris, were you going to say something? Hi, Chris.
I was actually going to say, Dylan and I wanting to take a vacation. We've both been building our businesses. It's been years, but I feel so guilty. Like I will not press book because I'm like, that's a week I can miss a listing. That's a week I might not be with my buyers, but seeing you overseas and then like you saying that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to press book today and we're going to do it.
We're going to set boundaries. Absolutely. And you do it because, I learned, and you have to learn to tell your clients, your buyers and your sellers. And this is something that I learned, that you are going away, because I would be the secret traveler. I would not tell a soul that I was going away because I was afraid they would say, oh, she's not working and she's not trying to sell my listing, or she's not looking for a house for me, right? So now it's such a relief because I do tell my clients, and clients actually empathize with you. They actually say, hey, you're a human too. You deserve to go with family and go away, and if something does happen, make sure that you have somebody, right? I did have a showing yesterday, and this gentleman, I was texting him, while I was in Europe, and he's like, I need to see this house. And I said, could you wait until Wednesday, today? And he's like, well, no. So I found somebody in our group, Maria, who I love, and she helped me. She did the showing. Everything is fine. Just a quick text and it was done. So, you do have to tell your people that you're leaving so that they don't bother you. And if there's somebody that needs to be doing something for them, you have a backup plan. I don't know if you have somebody in Tallahassee, Chris, that can help you. Not yet.
I'll find somebody. I know other realtors, just not with EXP. So I could pay someone. Yeah.
And definitely. And, I actually have reached out to other agents like a Compass, and I have told them, hey, if you need help showing while you're away, because I follow them, I'll show your property if I have time. So it doesn't have to be with EXP. Obviously now we're with EXP. So now we're trying to attract agents to our group, right? So it might work. Yeah, it might work that way if you have a good referral situation with them.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So you guys can hold me accountable to see if you see any pictures.
Yes, can't wait. And then Delania said, my biggest struggle is finding my niche. What would you say it's a good way to find that?
I mean, honestly, it's about, if you go out there and have fun and do the things you enjoy doing, your niche will come to you.
I agree.
Sincerely. I mean, if you're doing the things authentically that you truly love to do and that you're passionate about, your niche will come to you. And what Jessica said about take a vacation and don't feel guilty about it, honestly, that's my biggest thing. Is it's not so much as taking a little bit of time off. I feel like I'm cheating on my business when I do, and I feel horribly guilty. That's one of my biggest things, is like, if I go sit down outside around the table with the family, I'm like, I should be working right now. You know, I'm letting myself down. It's awful. That's a tough one that I have to try and overcome constantly.
And I think, you know, when I go back to my career and see the times during my vacations that I worked on a deal or something that was urgent, you know, according to my clients at the time, all of them fell through. So I literally worked for nothing, you know, and ruined, you know, hours of vacation time because I was on the phone, on the computer, trying to make something work that did not work out anyway. So now I'm like, you know, it can wait. If you lose a listing because you were not there that week that they wanted to list, I mean, now I take it like it wasn't really meant to be mine, right? I wasn't in the right space, time, and my efforts weren't. Yeah, I wasn't there. So I
Well,
don't
I was talking to a very, very dear friend of mine last week, actually, and I think everybody should have a close friend, confidant that they talk to and have these conversations with. And I was saying to him that, you know, I'm making these efforts to spend time with my son, who's 7 years old, or, you know, spend time, and I feel like I'm cheating on my work, or I'm guilty because I should be working, but I also need. And he said, "Stop, Christian. You know, spending time with your kids and playing with them, that is a job, and you have to do that job. Looking after yourself is a job, and you have to do that job too. It all has to factor in. You know, it is all work. Now, if you're sitting there watching some daytime TV with a bag of chips on your lap and doing nothing, then maybe that's different. But, you know, taking a vacation, looking after yourself, exercise, those types of things, those are all part of work. But they're very hard to deal with when you are trying to start your own business. I totally get that. But I think the vacation is massively important. Spending time with your family or your loved one. If I don't spend time with my wife, I won't have a wife.
Exactly. I just want to go back. So Delania, just about the niche thing. Delania, I don't know where you're in life, but to me, when I found my niche, it changes with where you are in life. So when I had my children and they were young, right, my sphere was different than now that my children are teenage and young adults. My sphere is different, and it grows. So at the time, I focused on families that were moving up. They needed a bigger house. They were selling their small houses because they were outgrowing their homes, and now they needed a bigger house. So it was great because I would sell the smaller home and we would buy a bigger home. So it was always a double deal. And then I went through, well, I was going through a divorce, and I ended up helping a lot of divorced couples because I was empathetic to what they were going through. And I was able to separate, you know, his needs, her needs, and help them both attain what they wanted to do. And I was in the middle. Yeah, a lot of times you are the psychologist, right? In the relationship between husband and wife, whether they're together or not. It happened to me just last week when we were at an inspection, and my buyer wife and my buyer husband were kind of fighting in front of me about a chandelier because she wanted it, he wanted it off. And I'm like, guys, you know, let's tackle this after closing. Like, why are you fighting about the chandelier right now? Yeah. So they're like, oh yeah, right. And then I took her aside and I said, you know, you don't like the chandelier, you will find what you want in this. You will put it, but don't fight with him right now when we're 30 days from closing. So, you know, so that was a niche that I found by the product of me going through that. And then moving here, I found that my niche was actually first-time home buyers, the young generation, because they saw me as somebody that, you know, older, more mature, unfortunately, and that could help them navigate that. And then also now the downsizers, right? They're now going from the big houses to the small houses because they want to travel. So throughout my career, my niche has changed depending on where I have been in life. And I still work all of them because I'm comfortable with everybody like that. But I think like Christian said, depending on where you are, it will come. Does that make sense, Delania? I hope it makes sense.
Yes, it does. And I thank both of you for the advice.
Thank you. And then Alec Anderson, I have struggled every day to open my eyes. I think we're all struggling to open our eyes in the morning.
I meant to
Um,
say I struggle every day I open my eyes.
oh, you struggle every day. So what's your biggest, but what is, would you say your
Well, there
biggest
has to
struggle?
be struggle.
Being the
We
best
all
version of
struggle.
myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you're fighting something?
Yeah, I'm fighting myself. I mean, to be the best version of myself, I don't know what that is,
Mhm.
but I do know there's certain tasks that I can do on a daily basis that would propel me to be better than I was the day before.
Right.
But I constantly fight with myself.
There is no success without struggle. If you get success without struggle, you'll never view it as success.
Well, I'm not. I guess it depends on how you classify success. I don't mean success
Exactly.
in a financial.
No, any
Barely.
achievement, achieving any goal must come with a struggle so that it has that sense of achievement attached to it. So every day I struggle. If I'm not struggling, then I'm not working and I'm not going to achieve success. You know, I mean, yeah, it's,
Yeah.
and that is, I think, you know, the right approach to anything, you know, to become the best version of yourself, as you said, Alex, is you're struggling every day to become that best version of yourself. And that is what it's all about.
Yeah, and Alec, you're already, you know, a lot of times we don't want to do certain things in life because they're hard, right? Like, you know, I don't want to prospect. I mean, I really wish my phone would ring by automatically by like just me breathing. That would be awesome. You know, I don't want to be on Instagram and showing my life to people. I mean, now it's joyful. It has become joyful actually, but in the beginning it wasn't. In the beginning it was a job that I did not like doing. And I don't, if you look at my Instagram, I don't put a lot of my kids on it, not because I don't want to, it's because they're now young adults and one of them is very private. And I've gotten in a lot of trouble by, you know, sharing about her life and her things when I think she's amazing. But she's like, Mom, you know, don't put me out there. This is your business. You know, I shouldn't be in it. So I'm like, okay. So it's you know, I respect that, or I'm trying to respect that as much as I can, because as a mom, I'm proud and I want to show her off. But you know, we struggle a lot with doing things that we really don't want to do. And that's really, at the end of the day, when you want to be better, you have to tell yourself, did I do the hard things? Did I, you know, prospect? Did I get my daily habit in? Did I wake up and work out? So it is a struggle. I mean, I've shared last week that it is a struggle for me to wake up and go to work out. I don't like it. I hate it. I know it's good for me. I know I'm supposed to do it, but I struggle with it. And I have to.
It goes back to being the athlete, Krista. The
Right.
athlete has to train every single day and do all the push-ups and the pull-ups and the press-ups and the this and the that, the other, just so they can run that 100-meter race or play that tennis match or whatever the case may be to
Yeah.
get to their
I
goal.
just feel like sometimes my scenario is a little different. I don't mind hard work. I don't mind working harder than anybody around me or anybody that is out there. My biggest downfall was myself. I get bored.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been on, you know what I mean, certain medication as growing up as a child. As much as I hate taking it, my significant every morning is on my ass about it.
So
And it slows me down, which is I'm not a big fan of. It's everyone else that takes it, I guess it speeds them up. When I take it, I slow down completely, and I feel like I can only do half of what my potential is.
So then you need to because so you have ADHD or ADD?
Correct.
Okay, because my daughter has the same thing, and she is coming into the business, into real estate, and we've talked about it because she gets bored, you know, easily as well. She wants to go from one task to the other, to the other, to the other, because otherwise she gets bored. So I think for somebody like you, sales is great. I mean, this is a great business to be in. You just have to now manage your time. So instead of doing, you know, an hour of a task, you need to do it in 20 minutes and then move on to the next. So, you know, I don't know if you guys can see the daily habits here. I just put a little sheet. Can you guys see it? I
Mhm.
uploaded a daily habit thing in the chat. You know,
I'm not in
those,
sales though.
you're not in sales?
No.
Okay, what do you do for work, Alec?
I guess complex problem solving.
Complex problem solving. Okay. So I think it still applies, you know, to anybody, because obviously, you know, we're not all in sales, like you said. When you have that, and I've learned with my daughter to keep it short and take a break. You know, take the 20 minutes of a task and then move on, or breathe or move your body, right? We have a lot of Tony Robbins and a lot of Tony Robbins people that love him, and he's all about the energy. And he says, you know, and I do it here when I'm bored at my desk, you know, doing what I need to do. Tiffany, I'm going to send you the daily habits via email, and maybe you can post it. I don't know why I see it on my screen. I don't know why nobody can
People
open
on
it.
mobile won't be able to see it, but if you send, I'll grab it right now, and Joe and I, one of us will add it to the daily download.
Okay, where do I send it? To your email?
Actually, the daily habits one that you put into the chat, I'll grab
Yeah.
it from here.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, great. So I think just keeping it short, Alec, will help. That's how I've helped my daughter kind of super hyper focus on something, and then she's allowed to move and go away to another task, right? And for all of us as well, you know, I learned this from the Build conference, where stay hyper focused on something for 30 days. Tell yourself, I'm going to master, you know, the relo, you know, with something about relocation, right? And become a master of that. Become a master of KV Core. Give yourself a deadline of 30 days, a short deadline where you can hyper focus on something and become a master at it. Because if you say, okay, this year, like I've said it, this year, I have 12 months to become a master at KV Core, I have an out. Now I have 12 months to do it. But if I say I'm going to be hyper focused and do it this month, then I'm going to become an expert at it. I hope that helps. And the reason I put the daily habits in the chat is because, you know, this is a little sheet that I do, and I print it out every day. And then I have a 61-point system. This comes from my coach. I never hit very rarely do I hit the 61-point system. But this is my morning. You should be able to, according to my coach, hit 61 points, you know, every day. And that's going to show you over time how you're mastering your business and creating the success that you deserve or want. Like calls gives you 1 point per day, emails and texts, handwritten notes, client to client, 2 homes for 1 client, that's a showing. Buyer or listing appointments, that's 10 points. Offers written, that's 10 points. A closing is 15 points. So all these are, you know, things that I use in my daily life to keep me accountable to myself.
What makes somebody a master in something? Because I've met some people that they feel that they've mastered, let's say, a career path or a certain subject or a topic, and it's almost delusional in their mind. And I've seen this throughout real estate, mortgage, raw land development, zoning regulation, zoning density, site plan development. And some people, they truly in their mind believe that they mastered something. 9 times out of 10, it was a bullshit class they took for a day. They got a certificate, and now they felt they've mastered something. And I don't.
Alec,
Yeah, that's all ego.
I want to stay
Alec,
away.
that's
I want to
their
get a gauge
problem.
on. Huh?
That's their problem, not ours.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm kind of.
You know, we don't master any. We're going back to the analogy of the athlete who keeps, you know, training, has a coach, working on their mindset, setting their focus, resetting their goals, doing that over and over on a daily basis like an athlete does. They never master anything. They might win the world championship, but they're not going to master anything.
There's always more to learn.
So anybody that thinks that they're a master of something, that's their shortcoming.
There's always a higher level, Alec.
That's not your
And I think,
shortcoming.
yeah, there's always a higher level. And I think, you know, Claire has I hope, a good comment about that. Claire, I see your hand is up.
Thank you. What's interesting about our morning calls and the way that we contribute to one another is huge. And for myself, I have to take pride and ego out of it. And this is the way that I choose to work it in my mind. Okay. If I am thinking that I did the right thing, then that's pride and ego. If I look and choose to do the right thing, that is humility. So if I am focused on a problem, a situation, an issue that I may be having, that's pride and ego to me. This is my experience. If I'm focused on serving God and others and doing the next right thing, not what I think is right or being right, then I am in less position of stress, anxiety, or boredom, because I have to take me out of the equation and put the we. And the we is a three-legged stool that collects information. If I'm looking at the me, then I'm dumping everything that I've learned on the floor and not able to execute anything. So for me and my house, my job, my purpose is to focus on the we, not the me.
Mhm.
Thank you, Claire.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Deep, is that, yeah, okay. Did you want to say something, Deep, or that's awesome? Okay, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And, I have all kinds of notes everywhere. I'm one of those people that has little Post-its everywhere, right? And one of the things that I have here talking about that, Alec, is like, you own yourself and you own your own ability to succeed. I can change my world and win at the highest level because there's always a higher level. So I feel myself that I haven't mastered anything. We talk about mastering things, and we talk about becoming obsessive in the pursuit of learning so we can give back, because we're professionals and obviously we want to serve our clients the best way. But there's always more to learn, and there's always more to learn from others. So being in this group is amazing because we do learn from each other and have so much collaboration and camaraderie. Somebody has their hand up. Hi, Lizette.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, I just I got caught off listening to what Claire, but I kind of got, I guess, one thing that's helped me a lot in my journey is understanding that everybody's going through a process. Like everybody's going in their own journey. You're just a piece of the puzzle of not puzzle. You're just a piece of something. You're going to step into their lives and become an addition to what, I mean, we should be thinking we should be an addition to everybody's life. So when we walk in people's spaces or in people's lives, there's also that part to understand that maybe they're in a place that maybe you've already been there already, or maybe they're in a place that you want to be as well. So being open to embracing both spectrums of what you're going to receive and what you're going to get, but always in this position that, we're always open to everybody else's journey and what they're going through and being an addition for each other. I don't know how that tied in with that because that got interconnected with what I was saying, but I just wanted to share that. It just popped in my mind. I wanted to bring that to the conversation.
Thank you, Lizette. I appreciate it. Liz, you wanted to say something?
Hey guys,
Good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to talk a little bit about mastery. And I think everyone that we have come across that have been in the business for years, who have been extremely successful, will say that, hey, we've mastered our craft. However, they have a very different level and a higher level of thinking where they're just like, I may have been doing this for 17 years. I have been doing this for 25 years. However, I still don't know everything, and they're always learning based. So just because they've done 10,000 hours, which air quote says that you are a master in something, they're always thinking learning based. Like they're like, I'm never going to know enough. So I have to continue to learn my craft. So take the ego out of it, guys. Like if you talk to the Deep, the Claires, the Christian Rockwells, the Kristas of the world, they are always learning based. So they may have done 10,000 hours, guys, but they still want to learn and perfect their craft. And we're never going to do so because we're in an ever changing industry. That's kind of what I wanted to say, guys.
Liz, you are 5,000,000% correct. One of the reasons why I have pledged my eternal devotion to people like Krista Kola is because the thing that struck me the most is that Krista Kohler, with all her constant success, one would imagine should be sitting around the pool drinking Mai Tais. I said this last week as well. But no, Krista Kohler gets up every morning and she deals with the challenges of the day in and the day out business. You know, regardless of how much she sells, she's still reinventing her business. She is still bettering herself. She's still exploring new avenues, new possibilities. And this is someone 19 years. I mean, a year for every month I've been in the business. And she is constantly searching, exploring, bettering herself. And that is why I have tremendous admiration for somebody like that. You know, and we have met with other people in our industry who have had tremendous success, and they are all constantly doing that. If you follow them on social media or you follow them on anywhere, you will see that weekly and daily they're finding new avenues to grow and expand their business constantly. You know, whether it's Paul Saperstein, you know, 200 sides a year, or even the really famous ones, or even just ones that are just continually growing to be successful. They are always learning new things and implementing new strategies and doing, you know, there's no such thing as mastery of anything.
100%. So Andres, were you going to say something? I think we're up
Yeah,
against time.
I actually did have a quick golden nugget that kind of came to me when you were talking about your imposter syndrome. I thought it was quite fascinating how it's like almost you were able to step into a character, a real estate character that believed that she could sell $2 million worth homes, or is that already successful agent. Could you talk about that? Like, are there any affirmations or routines that you do to maintain this character and develop that real estate character that sometimes you have to step into, even though you've done countless listing presentations, even though you've done countless things? But in terms of, I guess, that confidence level, like, is there things that you do differently?
I don't think so. I think, you know, I think last week I talked about treating everybody the same in my business, where it's a 300,000 or a 2 million or a 5 million. There was this one big listing that I had last year, and it was sold previously by another listing agent, and I knew the seller, you know, bought it and then became my seller. And I asked them, why did you choose me? Right? Because I wanted kind of to know. And we had become friends at that time. And he said, because I trust you and I know you care and I know you're going to do the good job. So I wasn't, you know, I didn't have the track record of selling a $5 million property before that. And he just knew that I could do the job. So I feel like other people see you with different eyes than you see yourself. And if you go into that listing appointment with your marketing expertise, with what you're going to do as far as level of marketing, and you're not going to put a MLS or a sign on the yard and truly talk about what you're going to do for them, they're never going to ask you about your track record. I've never really been asked about my track record. A lot of agents have said, well, you know, I haven't sold this type of listing. You know, are they going to ask me to see my portfolio? And I have never been asked about my portfolio. Even was a new agent when I first got my first listing at 500 in Illinois, which is luxury, that would be translated to like a 1.5 here. I was never asked about that. So I think it's all in our heads. We're our own worst enemy. And I just think I need to remind myself daily, you know, when I go on these appointments, that this is Krista, I have done this before. And if they don't choose me, it's really, you know, I mean, this is now, you know, maybe it will sound, you know, egomaniac, but it is their loss, because I know I would do a good job for them.
Krista,
And maybe I didn't translate it well enough.
I remember that was my biggest fear when I first started last year, was that I've never sold any real estate. Why is anyone going to trust me? I found that very, very hard. It was a big problem for me in my head. Mm-hmm. And I just said, well, there's nothing I can do about it. So I just went out and I did the open houses and I interacted with people and started showing people property and all that sort of stuff. And then eventually people started buying real estate with me, and I ended up getting listings and stuff. And exactly the same thing happened. My fear was completely created in my own mind because nobody asked me how long I'd been in the business. I think this is the psychological thing that we create for ourselves. We have to create all our profiles online. We have to create all our marketing material and presentation material to validate ourselves. Right? That's just for self-validation, because we assume that they're going to go and Google you. They're going to look up how many homes you've sold. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. But that again is all an assumption. And that's, probably a large waste of your time. Just getting in front of people and then working with them and then seeing, from selling no real estate to then selling some real estate is a very simple transition. It just happens. And it happens because people build that relationship with you, not your bio, nothing else, just you, not what you're wearing, not any of that stuff, not what house you're standing in front of, it's you. And if you are you and you're completely authentic and you're just yourself, they're going to trust you. If you start pretending to be something that you're not, that's going to stink and they're going to run away. You have to be you. And then that is what they're going to like and they're going to trust. They're not going to go and Google you, look up how much you've sold in the past or any of that sort of nonsense. It's not going to really happen. Maybe in certain circumstances, but you can't deal with that. And so now that I've sold some real estate and I've had some success, I put together a whole little folder that I even, if I'm going out with a new buyer, I will expect to give it to them. I very rarely give it to them because the people don't want it. I can tell them I've sold 50 homes in the last 12 months. That turns them off. They don't like that. I was shocked. I was like, oh, hang on, that's what I was trying to get at the beginning of my business and I didn't have it. Now I have it, but you don't care. They don't care.
So talking about that, there was a listing presentation that I went with another agent, a very prominent agent in a neighborhood that, she took me with her because I was going to be working it mostly. And we did not get the listing. And I kind of knew why we didn't get it, but, I actually did call the seller afterwards and it got listed with somebody else. And I said, I would like to learn a little bit more about why we didn't get the listing. And she said, because it was all about you, it wasn't me talking, but it was all about you, your accolades, your postcards, your marketing. And in fact, this seller had about 30 postcards, literally 30 postcards of this one agent throughout the year. She had kept them, right? So this agent thought, okay, here she is showing us 30 postcards that this seller has, or potential seller has. And that's how we were called in. But she felt it was all about the agent and not about her, that she wasn't listened. And she said, if it hadn't been for that, I would have felt more comfortable. But so it was really eye-opening, because I wasn't in control of that listing presentation because I was the sidekick. And I was like, oh my God, and I kind of knew it. It felt very, very uncomfortable to be talking about all the accolades that we had and the prizes and the trophies and the millions and millions of dollars. They didn't care. They just wanted for us to listen and narrow in on their needs and how we were going to help them sell their house and go somewhere else. Deep, you have a question or a comment?
I have a comment. First of all, thank you for doing this call. Really appreciate you guys, both of you. Going back to what Alex said earlier, mastering, these guys have mastered whatever they're doing. These people have not done that. The day you realize that you've mastered and you know everything in your business, that's the day you should pack up your bags and leave. I've been doing this for 17 years. Till today, when I have my first conversation with the buyer, first conversation with the seller, I still get tingles. Till today. You can ask any famous NBA player, NFL player, concert going people, Beyonce, they still have the chills before going on stage. The day you forget this, that's the day you should close up your shop. You're out of business. So going back to what Krista said, getting nervous, it's us who are in our own way. 99.9% of the time. I go to meetings that there are people who are making 150, $200 million transactions a year. And I'm sitting there killing myself within myself. What am I doing here? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I'm closing the deals. I'm working on projects that's going to take 16 to 18 months to materialize, but I'm putting myself in people. I'm literally putting myself out of the equation and say, you know what? This is my problem. It's my drunk monkey on my left shoulder keeps on saying, oh my God, you can't do this. And my right guy says, no, you can do this. So it's the day we forget, the day you don't get this chill, you are doing something wrong. I personally, I might be wrong. I personally do not want to master anything. Why? I want to be better at my skills, myself better the next day, better than what I did yesterday. I want to have better. I had an amazing conversation with Claire yesterday at lunch, and next time I meet her, I want to have a much more deeper and more productive conversation than what I had last time. So that's my purpose in life, and it's and I hope these new agents see that, you know, what kind of things we talk about. And, you know, thanks to this group that George has put together, and Tom and everybody else, Fred, we miss him, Fred. Hope you speedy recovery for you. But this is what's true. Like, you are learning and listening to people who have gone through this process. Person like Claire, who does coaching, business coaching, real estate coaching. You know, I wish I had this 17 years ago. You know, when I got into business, I did not. We learned the hard way. We were thrown in the jungle. I didn't even know how to hunt anything. So I figured it out. Now I know how to hunt. I know how to kill.
I love that,
That's
Deep.
it.
I love the Deep. Thank you. And you're so right, because you and I are around the same time we got our license, and I did not have this group like this. And I didn't even have this group like this 2 years ago, frankly, when I was at my other company. You know, we were not even talking about, you know, masterminding. So this is awesome. I hope, you know, everybody got a little bit of it, and try to get referrals. Just one last thing, remember, you have done business now, Christian, 47 transactions. Whoever has had some transactions, call your people. They love you, they want to help you, and call and be specific about what referrals and getting those you know, Google reviews on. Because if people will Google you, and some people will, you know, you'll have those on there. So be intentional about getting your reviews. Okay, everybody. Anything else? It's time to go prospect.